morning, and good night. Thanks again for downloading the Body Snatchers podcast. If you like what you hear today, don't forget to subscribe and comment. So let's get started. Enjoy the show.
All right, guys, good morning, good night. Thank you for choosing the Body Snatchers podcast. I'm your host, Tino. Today, I'm joined by Jay and also Kellz. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Excellent.
Yes, indeed. Always.
God, Kellz sounds so good. I mean, Jay always sounds good, like old-time radio, but Kellz has never sounded this good. Apparently, Kellz is a Twitch streamer who never knew how to use his Yeti microphone. Insane, right?
The more you know.
It's like he opened it out the box and he was like, instructions? I don't need no stinking instructions.
Basically.
And then like a year later, it's like, this Yeti is trash. He's probably been destroying them on reviews online. You're a monster.
Mm-hmm.
You're the worst kind of person. Oh, God. So for those of you that are new, today we are going to be talking about the Joker movie. I realize we're a little bit late to the game on this one, but that's because we've been on hiatus. But we are, as we're doing this recording, we're doing this in a set of multiple recordings so that when we come back the end of October going into November, we have lots of material for you, the listener. Also, if you are new, please head over to bodysnatchersmedia.com, subscribe to the podcast, YouTube channel. We're on Facebook, Twitter, all the fun stuff. So, hang out with us, stay, converse. We love to talk to you guys. Like I said, we just need a little break because this is actually the first break we've had in over 3 years, which is just insane. I was like, yeah, a little time off. Couldn't hurt.
Right. He said, you know what? That sounds pretty nice right now.
I'm
right?
ahead out.
Everybody who works for Body Snatchers, like, do we get any vacation days in this package? Nah. Every 3 years, you get 1 month off.
He was like, oh, okay. Well,
but we're going to record in the meantime, so you don't have off at all.
right. But you know what? It works, though. It works. We'll come back faster, stronger.
Kanye came back, and it was never the same.
Damn.
Yeah. He's another person. He doesn't exist no more.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, I got nothing to say to that. So, getting into this Joker movie, this movie was directed by Todd Phillips. For those of you who are a little bit ignorant to who Todd Phillips is, he is probably best known for directing the Hangover series, Due Date, and Old School. There's many, many other movies, but those are kind of like my top three that I would recommend watching. I've always enjoyed those movies. You guys a fan of any of those or anything else that he's done?
Like you said, those would probably be the top three. Definitely a fan of Old School. It's definitely a different feel for all this, but I guess it's all falls in line with the Joker mentality.
It kind of is and it's not. Like, the way that it's shot made a lot of sense. Like, it felt like a Todd Phillips movie, at least as far as, the camera angles, the types of lighting and, stuff like that they use. That's all him 100%, because that's like across the board in all his movies. But the nature of the beast, as far as like, the meat and potatoes, as Gia would say, yeah, it's a little different, but I enjoyed it. What about you, Kellz? You want to chime in on any of that?
Well, I'm old, so I don't really know who does what for directing. I just watch movies.
Well, yeah, but even if you don't know, I'm sure you've seen like The Hangover or anything. Any thoughts on that?
I definitely did see The Hangover, and it was a good movie, and I definitely can see it now that you mention it twice.
Wow.
Yeah, come to think about it, yeah.
It's like a shot to the kidney, but okay.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Like, I realized that, like, oh, wow, I should pay attention more.
All you do is hurt me emotionally, but that's what I'm here for, is to shine some light on your world, man. Because you're a lot of times, like everybody else, you fall into a trap of like just getting content so often that people don't give credit to the creators behind it. And that's just something that's unfortunate, but that's the way our society is. Everything goes really, really fast, and all they talk about is, the main actors and, not the people who are responsible for putting this stuff together. Also, on a small, like, slight note, one of his upcoming projects in the future that I thought was interesting, just to share a little bit of information, he's going to be directing a Hulk Hogan biography movie.
Really?
And I cannot wait to see that. They haven't set a date yet, but like, I just know, like, once they get to the end and they're gonna be like, Hulk Hogan, what was like the worst part of your life? And he was like, well, brother, the worst part of my life.
Hey, brother.
Everybody's my brother.
We all
the worst moment in my life is when I said, you know what he said.
You know when it got bad for me.
It was like on South Park, and they were just like, I'd like to solve the puzzle, please. Nagger.
Yep, I remember that one.
Oh man, yeah, I cannot wait to see that movie. I loved Hulk Hogan as a kid growing up. Like he was my hero, and then when you
Macho
got
Man.
to see his life, yeah. Well, Macho Man was all right. Hulk Hogan was better.
What? Yo.
Look,
Bro.
he said, "Stop it."
NWO,
Mm.
New World Order,
Mm.
Three Ninjas. You really just gonna act like he like okay?
Right? He's like, "All right, whatever."
Let that be the last time you disrespect Terry. He was the only guy who was worthy of fighting the Warrior in the ring before he, disappeared off the face of the earth.
Hey man, he did what warriors do.
Went to the Shadow Realm, man. You got to go there.
Oh, he
sometime.
went there. He's in the Shadow Realm. He ain't never coming back. Not even after this movie. Brooke Hogan, whatever happened to her and her super big crimson chin? She was so fine except for that chin. Okay. All right. Now getting to the actors. They had a lot of cool actors in this movie. So we had Arthur Fleck, who was played by Jay. How do you pronounce his name?
Mr. Joaquin Phoenix. That's the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, anything that sounds like that, I have Jay pronounce. He's my expert in all Joaquin things. But no, so he played Arthur Fleck. If you're not familiar with the movies that he was in Walk the Line. He played Johnny Cash, which was like an amazing movie, probably my favorite movie from him. And he was also the antagonist in Gladiator many, many moons ago with Russell Crowe.
Many moons.
I don't know if everybody remembered that.
Yep.
I
Sure
didn't
did.
until you just said that. I was like, wait a minute. That was
Oh,
him.
it's iconic, man. Yeah, when he's standing at the top of the crowd and he like takes his thumb and points down.
Right. He just looks so different. It's like, dang.
I remember that when you said that, it popped in my head.
It's over for you, Russell Crowe, and it really was. Like, that was the last time he was relevant. Robert De Niro, which everybody knows Robert De Niro. He played Murray Franklin. My favorite Robert De Niro movie of all time is, without a doubt, Taxi Driver. I don't know if you guys have never seen it. It is an older movie. That movie's older than I am, but it was awesome. And then more fun stuff, like Meet the Fockers and things like that. He's a great actor, and I was actually surprised to see him in this. I didn't even know he was in it, but he killed it.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised. But like you said, he killed it. And I was just like, okay. Because at first I wasn't sure if it was him. And then
no foreshadowing.
And then I was just like, oh man. Yeah, it kind of, yeah. No, I'm not getting into that, but yeah.
And then we got the beautiful Zazie Beetz, whom I love, playing
yes, Lord.
Ooh, that's bae. She was obviously in Deadpool. She plays in Atlanta. So, if you don't know her, get familiar, because I see a lot of great things on the horizon. And one thing that I thought was interesting is the next two actors I wanted to talk about have already been in like the Batman DC universe. So like Frances Conroy, who played Penny Fleck, Arthur's mother. She was in Catwoman back in 2004, if you guys didn't know that. The one with Halle Berry.
Not.
Right? Like, she's been in other stuff, too, like Made in Manhattan and The Wedding Planner. So basically, wherever Jennifer Lopez's shadow drops.
Right. She's just like, let me go ahead and cozy up right here real quick.
Oh, yeah, give me a little bit of that money.
Let me get
Yeah, so she was in Catwoman. So I thought that was pretty cool. So, full circle, she came back. And then Brett Cullen, who played Thomas Wayne, was actually the congressman in The Dark Knight Rises.
That's funny. That's funny that they did that.
Where's the X-Files intro music?
Well, I always think it's interesting to look at that stuff, because a lot of times you're not going to remember because they had more minor roles, but it's like they cast out for auditions, and these guys are like, you know what, I got a little bit of experience with the Batman universe, I'll put in for it. And I think that's awesome that they were able to be a part of this whole thing. So just throwing that out there. I don't think any other actors are worth mentioning, in my opinion, just because if you really think about it, the immediate cast that we constantly saw on screen was relatively small. Like, there's a lot of people that came and went for, brief scenes, but this is kind of like the cream of the crop to me. So if you guys want to mention anything, you have the floor. Does anybody have the floor? Anybody want to say something?
Cream of the crop. That's much, man. I'm sorry.
But no, not about any other characters. You pretty much have all the main people.
Now, just so that the audience knows, what these two gentlemen on the show are saying is we did not come prepared, and we don't know anybody else's names off of memory alone.
That is also true.
I know faces, but I don't know actors' names. It's like blank.
Oh, I know you do. That's what I'm saying. They said, Tino, thank goodness you came prepared, because if not, we'd be in there talking about, hey, old dude that was the cop, and then the other cop.
Right, and then he'd be, oh man, I hate you so much.
Remember? He's kind of heavy set. No, I'll look it up later. They won't.
Right, trench coat and the thing.
It's fine. I'm just teasing these guys. But seriously, these are the only people that I felt were worth the honorable mentions. They're the stars of this film. And it is what it is. Now, one thing that's come to mind as I've been, on Facebook the last couple weeks and Reddit, Twitter, etc. A lot of people who had an issue with this movie, and I'm not referring to the controversy that surrounds it or anything like that, because that's too trivial for me. Get that out of here. The society's too soft these days. Shut the hell up.
Look, slow claps for Tino. I appreciate that, but continue.
Thanks, man. But more so, the other side, as far as complaints are concerned, was a lot of people went into this expecting it to be like this over the top, Batman movie. And I just wanted to make it clear, like, this movie is not designed to be an action film. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is not a Dwayne Johnson, movie with no feel to it and no storyline. I love The Rock, but I mean, come on, everything he's in is just like for people of
guns, explosions, and
Michael Bay. Titties. So this is not that. This is considered a crime movie. This is considered a drama thriller, just to kind of spell that out. So that's what you should be expecting when you see this movie. That's what you should have expected. If you wanted something otherwise, I mean, pay attention. Don't just assume because the Joker's in there that things are going to, that's just not how it goes. This guy is, he's pretty deep. And as a comic fan, it was really, really awesome to kind of see how they, just unveiled everything and gave us a look into, his life. And I enjoyed it. But to get to the actual plot itself, I'm going to read off a line that's actually copied directly from the movie, just to give you guys an idea for what they were trying to convey. You ready?
I'm ready.
Yep.
Strapped in.
Don't do me wrong reading Rainbow now. All right. In Gotham City, mentally troubled comedian Arthur Fleck is disregarded and mistreated by society. He then embarks on a downward spiral of revolution and bloody crime. This path brings him face to face with his alter ego, the Joker. All right, so pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that accurately portrayed what we got?
Yes and no. I don't feel like you said, it wasn't as over the top as you would think and as everybody was making it out to be. Like, people were telling me how, people had to get up and leave from the theater because it was just so crazy. It's like, stop it. Like, you need to cut it out.
Yeah, people were being ridiculous. It was not like that serious. Like,
no, they've never seen kids.
Right. Like, and like, my thing is with all that is like, all of the greatest movies have been based off of like, following criminals or something, Scarface, as many, like, whatever. I'm not even getting into that, but it was definitely not what I was expecting in some lights, but it was cool. I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely had a chance to get a deeper appreciation for the Joker. It's just a different light. I enjoy seeing him in this light.
Okay. I feel like you were looking for the term understanding.
I guess.
Yeah,
I didn't understand it.
To show like, yo, this dude, straight up, there's reasons for why he turned up being like that. And just seeing it firsthand, like, it was like, yo, I feel bad for this dude. Like, what the hell is up with people?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of, different iterations, storyline of, what the Joker went through. Some really interesting ones that I would encourage people to read up on if they ever get the time. Stuff like, him losing his baby and his wife. And, there's a chemical vat that, causes him to be this way. There's a bunch of, things here and there over the years that have been written that are all really, really good. But as far as the central idea for this movie, I really did enjoy it. And in fact, let's kind of, maybe touch base a little bit just kind of on Arthur's life when this movie kicks off. He's somebody who has, mental issues. He's taken all different sorts of medication, or at least is prescribed different sorts of medication. He's living with his mother, whom he's taking care of. They're living in basically extreme poverty in Gotham City. And we kind of see like bits and pieces of politics and, things like that are going on, which we'll touch base on in a minute here. But I thought it made the story really interesting. But I think that showing him at ground zero was really awesome before anything kicked off. So you get to see like how bad everything really was, but how he was, he had a lot of like hopes and dreams, aspirations,
right,
whatever you want to call it initially. and that was warm. He was very caring, for his mother. I loved that, all of it, and just him always trying to smile. That even the job that he had, he's somebody who's down on his luck, has this just crap hole job as a clown, but he really loved that job. He really went in there and was trying to smile for the children and just be a good person.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's kind of how it is in real life, though. You know what I mean? Like you think about, like Robin Williams. I know Wayne Brady said that he had struggled with depression for a while. So it's usually the people that's trying to make other people laugh are the ones that hurt the most themselves. So it was really cool that you were able to feel his fall. You know what I mean? Like, and you definitely you felt it. You felt his hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like at some points, like it was rough.
Oh yeah, I mean, and we'll get to that, but just at the base, before he even acknowledges his pain, you can almost say he's ignorant to it, and things just get to a boiling point. Is probably how I would describe it. To where he has no choice but to feel it and decide how he's going to handle it. Kellz, how did you feel about kind of him at ground zero? I guess is how I'm describing it.
I felt real bad for the dude, man. Just seeing like, this. And he's still trying to find his happiness, and he's still trying to find help, and it's just not there. He's still in a good mood, or trying to be in a good mood, taking care of his mom, doing stuff like typical people would do in situations like that, and still trying to stay positive and trying to live a good life at least, and not complaining too much about how the way everything is. Like it's like, wow, I was totally not expecting it to be like that to start, but then I started realizing like, this he's not a violent guy. What's leading him to do it?
It's society, as a whole. It just was beating him down. And I tried my best to try to articulate my thoughts into a way that I can describe that kind of makes sense of this, for the podcast purposes, because there's an awful lot of things happening to him. So the way that I've broken it down is kind of relationships, in the beginning, and then how they get towards the end. So, the first would be, with his mother. So for me, with his mother, it starts off where he loves his mom more than anything. He will do anything for this woman. And as time goes by, the dark truths, come to the surface, and, he discovers that, his mother, first off, lied to him and told him that Thomas Wayne is his father, which sends him down this whole messy path, where he then finds another truth that no, Thomas Wayne is not his father. His mother is just super crazy, obsessed with Thomas Wayne, adopted, her son. So that's not even really his mother. And then was in like these crazy domestic violence relationships where the, first guy or men that she was with initially beat her son, Arthur, so badly that that's possibly the reason that he has the brain damage issues that he does now, and that he even needs medication in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That hurt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could only imagine, what he had to go through. And what I really enjoyed about this movie is a lot of people are upset. Oh, why did they take so long to dive into his life? I hate movies that skim over shit like this. That's super important. Mm-hmm. You can't cram, something this deep that's supposed to make you feel something in 20 or 30 minutes. You need an hour plus.
Right.
And the very struggle that you feel when he goes down to the hospital to get the records to find out, was mother lying? What's the truth? And the guy kind of tells him a little bit, because the guy really doesn't give a shit about his job. It's obvious. But as soon as he starts reading his mother's profile, he's like, oh my God, there's like some dark stuff in here. And all of a sudden he wants to quote unquote do his job. But the reality of that situation is he knew that what he was reading was so crazy that this dude was about to lose his marbles.
Right.
So he was like, you know what? I better not do this. And then
let me not feed him.
Yeah. And when Arthur grabs that, and as soon as he grabbed it, I knew immediately that he was going to obtain those papers from underneath the glass. They're like doing tug of war. I knew Arthur was going to get it. There wasn't going to be anything else to that scene, because you felt the determination in him. Nothing like air didn't matter, as you know what I mean, in comparison to how badly he had to have those documents in his hands. Just imagine holding on to something like that.
Yeah.
And he runs through the hospital, and he, I just was like, I felt that. I put all my drink down. I'm like, I'm focused. I'm locked in. And it's really dark and twisted, but as far as like cinema is concerned, I loved every moment of that. So did you guys have anything that you wanted to chime in specifically between the relationship between Mother, in the beginning and then leading up to, the end of that? Anything at all?
I was just completely shocked by it happening, and I didn't blame him. Obviously, I'm not gonna spoil, but I was just like, yo, I think that part had my mouth open. I was like, what? Are you serious? Like, yo, what the? How do you react to that? Like, crazy.
And we see how he ultimately reacted. Do you think that he took it too far? And this isn't like a question of like your actual morality. Like, so relax, don't feel bad if you feel some type of way. But in the movie, do you feel that he was justified in what he did to his mother after finding that information out, to an extent? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how did you guys feel about that? Because I feel like he kind of was. Like, I'm not saying it's right or anything. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going around, smothering old ladies with pillows. All I'm saying is in that moment, I was like, I get it.
Yeah, right. He was like, yeah. And I was the same way. It was just like, oh, yeah. I knew, once those notes hit and he just looming over the bed, I was like, oh, it's about to get real bad for you, mama. It's about to get
I think he took
bad.
a little bit overboard. But in a situation like that, I would have just walked away and never, had talked to her ever again. Like, because there's no point. You've been lied to your whole damn life, and just it would like I wouldn't have ever came back to the hospital ever.
Oh yeah, no, and it's like that particular killing. Like, I got it, I understood it. I don't agree with it, obviously, because I'm a morally righteous guy to some extent. I don't want anything like that happening, killers and stuff, but. Still, like, you understood. And this is one of those things where if they have skimmed over that moment very quickly, like, you wouldn't have gotten it. He would have just looked like this jerk who's like, oh my God, he killed his mom. What a psychopath. No, they needed to build up where you understand how strong his love was and how deep it cut him.
Right. That betrayal, yeah.
Because that's his whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and then you even saw that he wasn't, just going out, just taking anybody out, because the one guy that he worked with, I can't remember his name, but he was like, you were the only one that was nice to me. I'm not about to do anything to you, man. It's cool. You can leave.
I was in tears.
I already know.
That was
bro.
The funniest scene in that movie when and just so the listeners understand. Okay, so there's a scene where a large man, old coworker of Arthur's, comes in, and a small person,
ultra
midget,
small
movie. Yeah, he's ultra small.
Pocket size.
Little person. He comes in. Things happen in there. The big man doesn't make it out. He's gone. He gone. So now it's Arthur and the little dude. And the little dude, as you can imagine, is like freaking shocked. And the way they come into this apartment, Arthur, I guess, locks it afterwards. Those like old security, locks with the chain on the doors.
Mm-hmm.
They got one of those sitting high up top. And Arthur's like talking to the midget, and he's like, "Hey man, you always been good to me, like Jay just said." He's like, "You can leave. You can get out of here. I'm not gonna hurt you. You're good." And dude's like, "Whoa, thank God." So he's inching towards the door, and he goes to leave, and he can't reach the lock.
Look, I saw
I definitely laughed. I laughed a little bit too loud in the theater.
Yeah, no, but he knew. He was like, I'm about to die here, man. Like, this is some bull crap. Like, he was done.
The desperation, and I felt so bad for him, because then he awkwardly had to be like, Arthur, hey, please don't kill me.
Right. Could you hook me up one last time?
Please don't kill me, dog. Please.
Can you help me get out of here? Like, otherwise I got to grab a chair and drag it through your house, and I don't want to upset you anymore. You seem pretty angry already.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You already got all this blood to pick up. You don't need me scratching up your hardwood floors, man. It's all bad.
Oh, man. Nah, them floors are pretty jacked up to begin with. But
you right.
But at the same time, I'm not about to test this dude that just took out, my big homie. Like, I'm good.
Right? With the quickness. Like, yo, what?
Absolutely not. Now, second relationship I want to talk about from beginning to end. His relationship with Sophie. That wasn't super shocking, but it also made me kind of sad, like sadder than I wanted to be. you know, because she's like one of the only beautiful woman who lives in his apartment complex, and she tolerates Arthur as basically like, this is my, you know, goofy neighbor. This is what I deal with. And she kind of knows he's not all there. And she's like, you know, she's with it. She understands. She doesn't give him a hard time. She just is courteous and respectful. What I didn't realize is that, you know, Arthur had developed this, you know, weird imaginary girlfriend relationship. And what hurt is that, you know, she would very casually, in a lot of scenes, not necessarily like show interest in a way that necessarily meant she was like attracted to him, but in a way that showed that she was at least like chummy, like, you know, could be a potential friend that he could count on, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
And then when you saw that none of that was there, that all of this was fabricated in his head because he was so lonely and desired to have somebody so badly that he didn't even, like, he could have envisioned her as this like strong, sexy romance in his head, but he's such a kind guy, like, you know, at the core, that he couldn't even envision himself like, you know, throwing her up against the wall or kissing her, like not one time. Like all his moments of her were just very casual, you know, where he would be like, hey, you know, I do stand up sometimes, you know, it sure would be nice if you could come. And she was like, you know what, friend, I will go. And she was like the only one like that clapped lightly. That never even happened. That, right. You know, did you guys think about that? Like he could, if those were his visions, he could have done anything he wanted to her. And he was so nice that he couldn't even take it there in his own imagination. Mm-hmm. And even that was too much.
I didn't even know that was, he was imagining that.
Oh, you didn't catch that?
Nah. Until the end, when you guys are saying it, I'm like, and I've been hearing about it, like all the stuff that he's been imagining. I'm like, yo, it makes me even feel more bad for him. I'm like, yo, I actually thought like something good was going for him.
Right. And because
man, that makes you feel even worse now.
The only thing that made me think that it wasn't real was just how quick they became super chummy. Like when she was with him at the hospital, I was just like, what? You already here? Like, I get it, but okay. And then, you know, things kind of developed and I was like, okay, I get it.
Well, see, and again, I thought maybe she was just as a neighbor taking like a little personal responsibility, like, let me be a friend to this guy because he's my neighbor and he's alone. And maybe she didn't have anybody. And again, not one time did I ever think that they were foreshadowing a potential relationship, you know, because she didn't give off those signals. I thought he might get his feelings hurt in the movie later. Like maybe he would like make that play and she'd be like, you know, friend zone. Mm-hmm. But it hurt me to know that she wasn't even his friend, you know, and it hit him that reality because, you know, when everything came crushing down and he, you know, doesn't realize it, but he breaks into her apartment thinking he's just rushing over to see a good friend. And then like, you know, it's like the veil is lifted off of his eyes and he's like, oh my God, like this was never anything. You know, he's like, I'm the bad guy. He's like, you know what I mean? And he just leaves and that's it. Yeah. And that hurt.
Yeah, like when I seen her reaction, I'm like, yo, I didn't get the hint because I guess I'm retarded or something. When I seen that, I was like shocked, like, damn, he really did all this stuff. You had to date and I guess had sex or whatever. And I'm like, yo, what the? That should have been my first indicator.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's, and again, like I said, I'm only naming off relationships just to reiterate that I have tried my best to, you know, articulate so we can kind of describe some of what he's going through. So I do have two more that I'd like to discuss. So my third one would be the relationship between, this is kind of a weird way that I worded it, but the way I'm thinking is his relationship for stand-up comedy, as well as Murray Franklin, the TV, like late night TV show host that him and his mother would often watch. This one messed me up pretty bad just because the way that Arthur views, you know, stand-up comedy, it was his dream. Mm-hmm. That's what he always wanted to do. And not only that, actually, here, let me backtrack for a second. And I'm sorry for this, but one more time, just to say it again, the reason that this movie is awesome for taking so much time to explain like the first half, this is another prime example. So Arthur is like Murray Franklin, diehard fan with every fiber of his being. And in his mind, in his imagination, they showed the most down-to-earth, like, image or possibility that you can think of where Arthur was like, man, wouldn't it be great if I was on his set? It shows, you know, him being on the Murray show. He stands up. Murray, I think Arthur screams something like, I love you, Murray. And Murray's like, who said that? And Arthur's, you know, in the crowd. He's like,
yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they drag him down, and he's very shy, he's bashful, and he's saying things on camera on live TV. He's just like, I love my mother more than anything, and I'm a big fan of your show. And Murray's like, I really respect somebody like that, and he gives him a big hug. And like, think about that for a second. In Arthur's mind, like that was as perfect could be for meeting his idol. And what happens is Arthur, finally gets the balls to go to a comedy club, a small comedy club. And we all knew that this was going to be a train wreck because he's got his, his mental condition. He has a hard time getting out words, and he's never done this before. There's comedians that, have an awesome setup lined up where the first time they ever hit the stage, it's a train wreck, So we knew it was going to be bad. But to think that somebody recorded it, sent it to Murray airs this on live television without Arthur's consent, slams this dude.
Right.
Who's like
it's just like, look at this jackass.
Yeah. And
bad.
then has the audacity to call him up and invite him back on, or I should say, onto the show for the first time. Like, you could hear it in Arthur's voice when he talks to the lady who, calls him representing the Murray show. And you could tell, like, he knew right away. He was like, dude, it broke him because he knows what's happening at this point. That he's going to be the butt of this huge joke and he's going to get made fun of. And you just watch him just kind of self-destruct where he can't say no because it's his dream, but he knows that his dream is now never going to happen. That's how I took that whole scene.
Yeah, no, that was deep. It was definitely like you said, the fall of all his hopes and dreams. And then at that point, it kind of took off there. Like, it was like, oh, here we go. Because
oh shit, here we go again.
Right.
Yeah, and it's obviously what came after is whatever. Arthur went in there with his new persona, the Joker, and he owned that whole scene, I think, as best as the Joker could. But again, for me, like, that was like end scene is when he took that phone call and he gave them the answer for what he wanted to do, and right there and then I knew that he was just like, that was it. So I don't know if it stopped for you guys there, if like your curiosity wheels kept going, you were wondering where it goes from here. But for me, that's where that stopped, and I was like, he's made his line in the sand.
Yeah, you like, this is the Joker. Like, Mr. Fleck is no more. I can see that. I didn't think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way either when it came to him being on the phone. But when he came out there on the show as Joker, I was like, something ain't right here. I don't feel so good. Like,
and I love how he took that and spun it back at Murray when Murray came to him, and he was like, do me a favor. When I come out on stage, I want you to call me the Joker. And he goes, well, why would you say that? And he was just like, because, you son of a bitch. He's like, because that's what you called me. And then even more disrespectful, Murray responds with, did I say that? Whatever.
Yeah, right. Like, as if like he wasn't paying attention to that. Like,
I'm like, oh man, that's crazy that like you jumped into a 6-foot hole and then you astral projected on top and started shoveling dirt on top of your own body, Murray.
Because you don't even know you played yourself.
Out of pocket, Murray. Man, couldn't believe it. So my final comparison for this whole full circle thing. Sorry again, trying to add clarity to this. But like, I guess like my final one would be the loose relationship between Arthur and Mr. Wayne. How did you guys kind of feel about that? And again, try to do like a beginning to end sort of with Mr. Wayne, and how I'm curious, what did you guys think about Mr. Wayne's character, his relationship with Arthur, Arthur's mother? What did you think?
So for me, I thought it was interesting with what it may potentially lead to down the line. I don't know if they have any plans of doing anything or following this up at all. But, obviously with the Joker and his ties to the bats and whatnot, it was kind of cool that they kind of showed some things. But at first, you definitely was like, oh man, Mr. Wayne is kind of a douche, he like, oh, he'll take care of the city, blah, blah, blah. But then as the Joker kind of progressed in his way, you kind of saw Mr. Wayne in a different light. You know what I mean? Like, listen to me calling him Mr. Wayne. But
hey, I feel you.
But you definitely, by the end of it, at first you're like, okay, he's a upstanding guy, he's gonna save the city. You did feel that, but then when he eventually meets up with him, he sneaks into the theater and speaks with him in the bathroom. It's just like, man, he's not as charismatic and charming. He's a lot more rough around the edges. You know what I mean? It's definitely not. He's the Gotham, I almost said superintendent, but Harvey Dent, oh yeah, no, I'm here to save you guys, but I lost my way a little bit. Like, I can see that. I can see them going down that road with him.
In private, he basically said these hands are rated E for everybody, Arthur.
Because he definitely definitely gave it to him.
Especially seeing him on a TV and everything. Just like, at first I thought he was like a cool guy, and then after seeing them calling like basically the citizens of Gotham, calling them clowns and stuff, like as if like they don't even exist, like yeah, whatever kind of thing. Like, and then when he was approached by Arthur, of course, still a prick, but at the same time, it's like you got this dude coming in the theater to see me, like, who the hell are you, kind of dude, like, what?
Yeah.
Tell me this BS, like, come on, man.
But you know what? He did have the right to steal off of him, because you had your thumbs rubbing up on my little boy gums, and I'm not about that. Like, no, what are you doing?
That was accurate, but I hate you for rhyming that.
that was actually pretty slick.
Bars. Get at me.
Wow. Okay. A little creepy, like you thought of that before, but you did it. You nailed it. So my whole thing with Mr. Wayne is, yes, in this movie, in this light, he is a little bit of a douchebag. He's obviously Republican. Can I say that on the show?
Sure.
I think I make the rules most of the time. So
look at these clowns.
I'll allow it. Unless I get voted out like Survivor. But what I really liked about Thomas Wayne's character is it put everything in a different light. And I think it's a light that needed to be seen, because a lot of times, when he's talked about as this great figure. How could something have happened to him? This freak accident, in the alley. Like, why would somebody do that? It's just because he was well known. It was a senseless killing. They just snatched up the pearls. They didn't even really get any money, whatever. But the way that this is put together creates a backstory that makes everything make so much more sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a guy who, yes, he is for Gotham, but no, he's not for necessarily all of Gotham. He wants to clean up Gotham. He wants to gentrify Gotham. He wants to tear down the slums and put in a couple Starbucks and, things of that nature. Like, that's where Mr. Wayne is at. So it makes sense that while he's climbing up and considering running for mayor and all these other things, that he's also creating a lot of powerful enemies and hostility towards himself.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes so much more sense that, yes, this may have technically been senseless and not necessarily like an assassination, but somebody saw an opportunity and they took it because of the way that Mr. Wayne presented himself publicly, and the thing is he was known for being such a savage and was praised for it from rich people, but not on the other end. So it just made a lot of sense. Now, I will say that as far as his character at the core is concerned, I have nothing but respect for him, because he didn't run to the police when he found out that some psychopath was stomping around his yard and put hands on his son for a moment. But he definitely handled business. He saw him and was just like, you know what? I tried to be civil, but the tiger's out the cage, bro. And definitely popped Arthur in the
with
mouth.
a quick one, like, yo.
Yeah, I mean, he was no punk. He squared up real quick.
Son.
Oh yeah, and he let him know. He said, if you touch my kid again, I will kill you. And this is a guy with a lot of power. He could have had him assassinated. He could have bought the police. He could have did a lot of things, but I got to have some respect for him, as far as that's concerned. He's, you could tell he definitely was raised in like a rough neighborhood and rose to the top. And now he looks down on everybody who didn't make it,
Yeah, it definitely, it was
right, kisser.
It was probably like one of the best portrayals of like the whole haves versus the haves not struggle. You know what I mean? Like, I can't really think of a time that it came off and was done in such a way that you really felt it, but it didn't feel overdone. You know what I mean? Like, it was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So now with understanding that we are getting pretty close to time, there's just a few of the things that I wanted to touch on. So before getting to this end, I want to do a few comparisons with some previous iterations of the Joker versus this iteration. But with the following that he embraces at the end, I really kind of enjoyed that, because he indirectly empowered all these people, and it just made a lot of sense. Because the thing is like, one thing I've always liked about the Joker is he's always a hard guy to get because he has all these freaking followers that come out of nowhere.
Mm.
And this movie kind of explained as to how that happened. That's a lot of people that are down in their luck where, the city has also given up on them. And the Joker has inspired something indirectly where they feel the need to be led by him. And he makes that public appearance, because they knew who he was. They were already following, his, gimmicky little thing with the masks and all that. But once they saw him speak on TV and do what he needed to do, like the respect, jumped through the roof. They're like, okay, that's our guy. There he is. There's no question about it anymore. We know who he is. This is Arthur. This is the Joker. This is, he's announced himself. He just did this in cold blood, and we respect him for it. So I don't know. I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed, at the end where he didn't even say anything. He just stood on top of the cop car and, just kind of threw his hands in the air and was embracing.
Yeah, just soaked it all in. He said, yeah.
Let it soaked in. Like, yeah, let me just dance around. Don't know what I'm doing, but I'm dancing. I'm in a good mood now. Finally, after all the shit that he went through, like he felt good. It was like, yo, this is good.
I have to ask you guys, I want to make a couple comparisons, but I think the first thing that I'm anxious to discuss is arguably the best Joker character, hands down, in my opinion, is still Heath Ledger from the 2008 Batman film. Even now, I still feel that way, but this movie I personally enjoyed better than that film. Mm-hmm. Now that probably sounds confusing, but the way that I look at this is if you go back and you watch a couple of scenes with Heath Ledger and that Joker is insanely similar to this one. But in my opinion, Heath Ledger's Joker feels like a Joker that's just been in the game for a while, like he's kind of gone through some stuff, and he's like the Joker that we see from, this Arthur in this movie. We see him as kind of like a newborn baby, he's just getting his legs right. He's figuring it all out.
Mm-hmm.
But this one Heath Ledger's is established,
right?
And has like everything's chaotic, but has a little bit more purpose. You know what I mean? Like he understands like who he's got to deal with as far as cops are concerned, or the mob is concerned, or whatever. In order to make whatever he wants happen, he knows what to do. Mm-hmm. This Joker that we have, he just hasn't figured all that stuff out yet. That's how I took it. Do you guys agree with that? Disagree? Just curious.
I definitely do agree. Heath Ledger being the best one. And I see this Joker as being the one who started it all. Just by seeing how the ending was, I was like, wait, he could have literally, with this whole uprising, literally start a Heath Ledger or the other Jokers that happened in the past, like in all the other movies, basically by following the stuff that he built the foundation for. And it's like people were fed up. So they were just like, you know what? I like his ideals. I definitely want to be the next Joker as well too, but doing it in my own way, kind of thing.
Okay,
tired of it.
Yeah, but like you said though, Tino, I enjoyed this movie overall, but I did enjoy Heath's version of the Joker more. I just felt like his was just the strongest point of that movie, just like all together. I don't know how well it would have done if it was not Joker or not Heath Ledger. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how history would have went. Things would be different. My favorite thing though, like to be honest, about this movie was the actual like the angles and the laugh. Like his laugh is like it sounded like he was hurting still. You know what I mean? And it kind of added, I don't know, like it was pretty cool. Like it was pretty cool how they lined this all up. Like they need to figure this out with the rest of the DC movies, and do something. I'm not saying that they got to be tied in. I'm just saying up the game up a little bit, because this is good. This was solid. Like this was seriously solid.
Joker.
Oh yeah,
Joker. The DC story basically. It's just he didn't need that much action to set himself up. Mm-hmm. He just needed to see his uproots and why it made him like that. And I felt real bad the whole time. And it's like, that's the beauty of it, because he was a normal guy trying to do things right, but kept getting messed.
This movie, and again, this is my personal opinion, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I think that this might be the best DC, live action film to ever have been made. I really truly believe that. And I think the reason that it's so good is because they spent all their time paying attention to detail. They didn't, pick a bunch of beautiful women and love interests to try to propel the movie. They didn't try to sell you on fancy explosions and, high end, visual effects or anything of that nature. And they didn't try to sell you on like, oh, we got a badass over here who, can't be beaten. A guy who's just his hand to hand combat's so good, or he's just so sadistic. No, they didn't do any of that. They found a way to make this movie relatable, understandable, and they took their time with it. The delivery on everything was perfect, and the last 30 minutes of the movie was incredibly rewarding. And if anything, I want to kick myself because I didn't want to jump on this hype train when it came out. I was like, dude, I'm not interested. I'm so sick of DC. Hard pass. And I didn't think that this would be such a winner for me personally. Everybody's not going to agree with that, but that's just how I felt.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, you don't always need a bunch of action to create a good movie. People have short attention spans, and that's probably why a lot of people walked out and thought it was going to be like action and stuff. Like, no, it doesn't have to always be like that.
Right.
Like Fast and the Furious, I went from racing to now it's an action movie. Like, what?
Racing the straight garbage is what they went to. The movie stopped at 5 if you want to count them falling off. They were only good up until 3. We can have a whole debate about that one day if you want to.
You said we could just go through all the movies.
I'll play the damn music right now. That don't do.
But yeah, I definitely think that
Fast and Furious. Fucking love that.
I just think that the comedy, trying to deal with tragedy with comedy, it was beautiful, man. Like, it was just beautifully done. I loved the way that they portrayed the Joker in this. I don't really know what else I would want to see. You know what I mean? Because, like, I didn't necessarily ask for a Joker origin story, but I love the fact that they were able to present it in such a way. I couldn't really ask for anything else. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's lacking anything. You know what I mean?
No, I agree completely. And for time, this is like my last statement before, we say our goodbye. But the only thing I wanted to add is I really hope that if we don't get a second movie, which would be lovely, but I doubt it, I really hope that, if they end up rebooting the universe or whatever the hell happens, that they take notes at how this was put together, specifically everything that Todd Phillips did for this film, and see how the formula for how something, can work if you take your time with it. And I hope that they, implement this moving forward in other movies. I highly doubt it. But, imagine if Zack Snyder would have did this. It would have been a trash movie all the way through. All the way through.
Right. You said beginning and end. I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, it would have been him, cutting his mouth open in the beginning, like, this is how I got these scars. And then he'd go around cutting everybody and tying people, every bank robberies, all this stupid crap. And he would have killed his mother in the first 2 minutes and, probably killed Sophie too. And there would have been no buildup. It just would have been trash. Wonder Woman would have mysteriously appeared from an alley and, punched him and walked away for no reason. Like, those movies suck. They make no sense. And also, I've heard that the director, I believe Todd Phillips, said that in his opinion, the best scene from the movie was cut. So I'm actually looking forward to checking out the director's cuts when this thing hits DVD to see what he felt was the best scene due to people feeling some type of way about this film. So I'm really excited about that personally. Yeah. Kellz, anything you'd like to add before we go?
It was an excellent origin story, and I believe like any Batman movie can definitely pick up from this movie in particular, but just different Jokers in the same universe, basically. And you never know what the hell happened. With this original Joker, he could have died, and then all these other followers could have turned exactly like him. And
that's kind of what happened in Gotham. That's kind of like how they were building it up with Jerome and all that. He's not the Joker because we can't say it, but damn, he was a good Joker. I really like that guy.
Yeah, that's why I was like, whoa, I can see this movie like basically starting the whole Gotham TV show and everything, and any other Batman, because the show was actually good. I just haven't watched it in like forever. But
it's done now. You know that, right?
Oh, I get to watch it.
God, yeah. I forget the kid's name who plays Bruce Wayne in that show, but he's really interested in the future, potentially playing Bruce Wayne, like, in the future down the road, another movie, or a movie to begin with, I should say. So I hope they keep him in mind for that, because he definitely nailed that role in Gotham. I enjoyed it. But I'm ranting. We're at nearly an hour, which is crazy. So you guys are getting like a double whammy here. You're welcome, because we can't shut up. So again, those of you that are new, thank you for hanging out. Head over to bodysnatchersmedia.com. I'm going to post some links for like our Twitch channels if you guys ever want to hang out. I'm like a part-time Twitch streamer. Kellz is like full-time. He neglects his family to do so, but he's got a pretty good channel. So I'll make sure that that's in there. And yeah, so like I said, if you have any questions, comments, you want to talk, just see us in the comments and call us out. We'll be there. We love to converse. Please subscribe, and everybody have a good day or night.
Yeah.
All that jazz. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.